Feinstein report suggests that President Bush was not fully briefed on the program and was deliberately kept in the dark by the CIA.
Not true. Didn't happen. Read his book. He talks about it extensively in his memoirs. He was, in fact, an integral part of the program. He had to approve it before we went forward with it.
The sounds of planes crashing into buildings was still fresh in our minds when we started going after the 9/11 killers. Sounds fade. So does the will to do what it takes to keep America safe. So with the release of the biased CIA torture report, who is not telling us all the truth? He served his nation proudly in the U.S. Army, commanding operations to train Iraqi troops during Operation Iraqi Freedom. A graduate of West Point, class of '72, and now senior advisor to the National Security Network. It's proud to welcome Major General Paul Eaton to MidPoint. Major General, thank you for joining us.
Ed, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Are we at a spot right now in our history, Major General, where we need to drop the moral high ground? Because that's what people talk about now with regard to this CIA torture report, and realize what it takes to keep a country and a people safe in this new terrorism-driven world.
Well, first of all, I watched a speech given by Senator McCain last night where he fully endorsed the report and believes that what we did was torture and that what we did was counterproductive to the national security of the United States. John McCain is no shrinking violet. He is a terrific amount of experience at the hands of North Vietnamese torturers, so I kind of go with his gut feel on this. I will also tell you that I stood behind the President of the United States with a lot of other retired flag rank men and women when the President signed the executive order that we would subscribe as a nation to the U.S. Army Field Manual on Interrogation. So that's where I'm coming from on this, and happy to chat.
But do we need to understand, though, that in order to keep ourselves safe, that sometimes we have to break the rules, and even sometimes the rules that we ourselves find rather disgusting when we look at other countries that do almost the same thing?
Well, we tend to lose our own narrative. We tend to lose in that whole argument that we are not involved in situational ethics here. We have our values, and we will treat prisoners with the appropriate safeguards that we teach our every young soldier going through basic training. We conduct instruction and training on how to deal with soldiers that they take prisoner at the point of capture. And it's we teach the 5 S's. That is seize, secure, safeguard, segregate, and speed to the rear. Safeguard is number 3S. And what we expect our soldiers to do is to obey the law, obey their training. And we get into this business, part of the argument is that the ticking time bomb 24-hour scenario. And I'll tell you that every sergeant, every lieutenant, every captain that we put to the field is faced with ticking time bomb scenarios. They need information, they need it quickly, but I got to tell you, some of the things that we did that revealed in that report may have given, and the jury's out on that, short-term gain, but a very long-term serious loss to national security issues.
I have about a minute left. We'll break, come back, and talk some more. But last question here. There's a left-wing website called Politics USA, and here's the statement. Every Republican who said that torture led the CIA to the chauffeur who led us to bin Laden lied. Do you believe that there were a tremendous amount of lies from the CIA on this?
Ed, I believe that the men and women of the CIA are great patriots. I believe that the nation was under duress. I believe that they were following what they thought was clear guidance from the White House. There's been enough give and take on this that I'm not sure we know exactly how we acquired what information. I keep getting both stories on this. I've been down to Cuba at Guantanamo Bay to watch the al-Nashiri trial, and I got to tell you, there's plenty of discussion on how we got what information and what I do know is that it is counterproductive to national security to conduct torture.
All right, Major General Paul Eaton, please stand by. He'll be with us after the break. We're going to turn our attention to the killers of children and the possibility of a dirty bomb attack in Europe. Join us also at 51 minutes after the hour for Telling It Like It Is and why it's okay to have bad teachers in schools. MidPoint continues. We welcome back retired U.S. Army Major General and Senior Advisor to the National Security Network think tank, Paul Eaton. Major General, let's go ahead and spin overseas to ISIS now. There is discussion about a dirty bomb in Europe and the possibility of this. ISIS did likely pick up about 40 kilograms of uranium from Mosul University. But we have some people who say, well, they may have the material for it, but it's really nothing to worry about. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, if you talked about a dirty bomb going off in Washington, D.C., you're darn right we'd be worried about it. And I believe that we would be very, very aggressive at getting to the root of the information we're talking about.
How are we then preparing for this? Because this is one of those things we don't really talk much about, but the possibility is out there. In your opinion, are we secure enough as a nation? We watch out for the big things that come our way, but what about something like this, which is backpack-sized? Should it really be a 24/7 concern, and are we doing enough?
Ed, you ask a great question, something that we talk about, and it is, can we say that every container, and see, there are three game changers out there. It's climate change, whether it's done by man or not. It's a biological event. We've just seen the Ebola thing. And the third is the introduction of a refrigerator-sized nuclear weapon. Now, if we're talking a suitcase-sized dirty bomb that is going to contaminate a terrain, an area in a urban area, are we able to say as a nation that everything that comes into the United States has gone through radiological checks? And I don't think we can say that. And I'll tell you, here's what happened to me one time. I went to the NSA, to the National Security Agency, and they had just gone through a drill where someone approaching the gate had just gone through a medical procedure, and he tripped alarms going into the NSA because he was still a radiologically active guy. So we know how to do this. But I don't think, if we asked Homeland Security, Jay Johnson, if we asked the director, are we checking everything coming into the States? I'm not sure that we've funded that bill. It's probably fairly expensive, but I'm not sure that we are in a position to say that it did not come into the ports and airports of the United States.
Would you then guess that certainly terrorists always carry out practice runs just about every place they go, and they're getting a little bit more sophisticated at it right now in just about every aspect? Would you then say, I would guess you couldn't say with any great certainty then that there may not have already been a couple of practice runs here in America, somewhere, sometime along the border, to see if something like this could sneak through?
Ed, it's a great question, and I defer to Homeland Security and FBI. Those very qualified agencies are doing the Lord's work for us, and they know. And there's a whole lot going on that I will never know, but I will also say that they've done a terrific job at keeping us safe.
All right, couple of minutes that we have left here. ISIS has allegedly beheaded 4 Christian children after they refused to convert to Islam. This is according to reports from a British vicar based in Iraq. Major General, what are we not doing in this war against ISIS? Because quite frankly, we wake up to new atrocities every single day.
Ed, this, what a tough problem we've got here. With the collapse of the Iraqi army, we're going to have to get back after it. ISIS represents a vital national interest problem to Turkey, to Iraq, to Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and to the Syrians. We have got to stabilize it, and that's what we're doing right now with close air support, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. We're supporting the Kurds up in the north, and we're engaging with Turkey, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, with our allies in the region. And that's the containment. We've got to contain these people, and with troops, not necessarily our own, but ultimately we've got to reduce the ISIS perimeter and kill them. We also have to get after our own narrative, our own counter-ISIS recruiting operations, so that they quit bringing these jihadis into their midst and growing the threat inside the area that they control.
There's all sorts of homegrown terrorism, and I'm very interested to hear you use the word kill them, because quite frankly, a lot of people are afraid to use those words. They use words like take out or exterminate, but perhaps it's part of the dialogue that we need to continue to have to keep us safe. We're all out of time, unfortunately. Major General Paul Eaton, I want to thank you very much for joining us. Please, to you and your family, have a great holiday season.
God bless you, Ed. Thank you and yours.
Take care. Thank you. Break, and we're back with the most powerful sports league in America trying to rein in their band of lawbreakers. Sports professor Rick Horrow is in the house for that. And the chief of Detroit Police joins us later as we discuss how gun-shy cops all across America are becoming and how that might affect your safety. It's coming up right here on MidPoint.